Welcome back to not supports only. I know it might look like supports only. We just so happen to have every single character that is on supports only, but we're not on supports only because today I want to revisit my DPS Qiqi, and to do that I need to use a character that is not a support, that being Chongyun. So we are definitely not on supports only today, and even if we were, we've technically finished supports only, so I could sort of get away with using a character that doesn't count as a support just for a random one-off video. Now, I would normally do this on my main account, and actually I was going to do this on my main account, but I just don't have the characters that work as well on my main account. But I have two teams I would like to try today with this DPS Qiqi. One of them being something like this potentially, although I'll probably end up swapping Shenhe out for Chongyun. Option number 2 is using C Lali and doing some form of melt team, because I believe she boosts melt reaction. There we go. And I'm hoping that will work as reverse melt, because that is how I do it. We'd use Qiqi's burst as our main source of the melt, and then we'd put in someone else to, I guess we could probably put in Durin because he can buff, and then Shenhe, maybe? Anyway, those are the builds I like to try today. So we are going to fix our DPS Qiqi. I will probably put her back on Mist Splitter. We do have Farina's weapon now, which does have more crit damage, but the passive isn't as good, I believe, as Mist Splitter. Mist Splitter will probably be better, so we're going to run Qiqi on Mist Splitter. And then for the first build, I'm going to try Freeze. So I'm going to use her on a Blizzard Strayer. I will most likely also try out a gladiator build, like attack based build. She is at C2. I would like her a little bit higher, but C2 is not the worst. It increases her normal and charge attack damage against opponents affected by cryo, which is perfect because that is exactly what we're going to be doing. And the levels, she's all at level 8 across the board, which is okay, I guess, for now. So that sets her at just shy of 2,000 attack and a 65 to 169. We do get 20% crit rate from here, so that will bring it up to 85. So I could probably see if I could swap some stuff around to get her on more crit damage, although most of these pieces have just rolled into crit damage. I mean, these ones don't even have any crit rate on it. We are running a crit rate circlet. Try to either swap this around and steal a Scoffier's, which would give us a lot better stats, so we can do that. And that would now bring her to 53 to 186. That 53 will go up to 73, and that will do for now. Plus we're now over 2,000 attack. So there is our Qiqi build for this. I will quickly run through the other characters I'm going to use regularly. Shenhe is one of them. We just want her on a bunch of attack and ER, so we're going to put her on Favonius Lance. And she's on 2-piece Gladiator, 2-piece Shimenawa. I'll probably also use C Lali, who also is fine, although I should probably put her on a supportive set for this, as she will not be doing damage. And I could probably also swap her off the Widsith and put her onto Thrilling Tales, to be honest, would probably work, because we get an attack increase. I will probably use Durin, so I'm just going to run him on, I guess, Favonius, and he's on Noblesse, he is fine. She's on Golden Troop and the Catch, so yeah, she will do. Farina I might use, but she doesn't change her build, so she's fine. I will use Chongyun at one point, so I'll put him on a build, probably just throw him on Noblesse. So I'd say there's the base building done, which means now we can get into teams and trying some stuff out. First team, I reckon we just try out this team and see how it runs. I could also build physical Qiqi, but that's just kind of boring, so I don't want to. Now, I'm pretty sure C Lali's skill is going to mess stuff up, but oh well. Let's see, that did 58,000, and I don't think it was a melt, because I think C Lali's skill is messing stuff up. So I could try and tweak this build, and instead of C Lali, I could put in like Bennett, because Durin, I believe, he does do damage buffing, at least I think it's the right kind of damage buffing. Okay, no, wait, never mind. He doesn't do anything to buff melt, so Durin's kind of useless. He just does all-field pyro, and that's about it. So instead, it's probably better off to run Bennett and, like, Kazuha, maybe? Because I can swell pyro. I reckon we do Shenhe stuff first. Then we'll do Benny Boy, swirl that, and then Qiqi Burst. Boom. 118,000. Okay, not bad. Definitely better than with Seat Lali. Plus, with Bennett's C6, we get Pyro infused, which means we can do more melts with her skill and her normal attacks doing Pyro. Now, I believe, I didn't actually check, but I believe that was the same team I ran, or similar team I ran in the last DPS Qiqi video. I don't actually remember how much damage that team did, but we did 100 and I'll round it up and say basically 120,000 with Qiqi. Now, why we are messing around with this team, I am going to try swapping her up to a different set, and that is going to be probably 2-piece Blizzard, 2-piece Gladiators. For this one, we will need to have a few more crit stats, specifically crit rate. There we go, 2-piece Blizzard, 2-piece Gladiator. That sets her at over 2,000, attack 66 to 176. I don't think this is going to be better, if I'm honest. Actually, I think it's probably going to be worse, but we might as well give it a shot. It is the best pieces I have for a 2-piece Glad, 2-piece Blizzard Shreya. So let's have a look what we can do. And then after this, we're going to mess around with the other team, which is our Freeze team. Because I believe I haven't tried that before. I think I just did Melt in the last video. Although, you know what? I should probably go look at that because it would be really bad if I just did the exact same teams in this video as the last DPS Qiqi video. Although they won't be exactly the same anyway because I'll be using Chongyun. So it will be ever so slightly different. Okie dokes, same rotations. I used Shenna's burst this time, but yeah, pretty much the same rotation. And Qiqi burst. What do we do? 62,000, so that was less. Although I'm not sure if it was a melt or not. But now we're going to move promptly on from this team, and we're going to try the next team, which will use Qiqi, Farina, Escoffier, and Chongyun. For this one, we definitely want Qiqi on full Blizzard, and everyone else is built. So let's go try team number 2. If we do some charge attacks, we see some 7,000 there. 11,000, or I think that might have been from a skill though. But we're seeing about, 7,000 or so from the charge attacks, the cryo-infused charge attacks, which isn't bad. We're gonna have, like, literally nothing left. I'm pretty sure Farina killed that one. I need a tankier boss. You know who's tanky? This dude. Let's just hope he's not cryo or hydro resistant today, because that would suck. But so far, I think total damage-wise, this team is better because we have more consistent damage, and we have my R1 C2 Farina, which kind of just shreds everything. But I would like to actually see Qiqi's burst do some proper damage. There is no way we haven't been here before. Why am I just now getting some text from Paimon? Surely I've been down here before. No, apparently not. Although luckily, it's not cryo or hydro today, which is perfect. Let's see if I can see some decent damage out of this. Probably just shouldn't have used Chongyun before Escoffier, but that's fine. Boom, and Qiqi burst. That only did, I think, 17,000, maybe less. I didn't actually see, but it wasn't that much. Okay, so I went and just quickly did some Googling on this because I was not happy with the DPS Qiqi. I have some new team options. We're going to try, because I figured it's probably actually better to run more EM on her. We're going to throw on Sucrose, Durin for off-field Pyro, and Benny Boy wherever he has gone. Now, it would be better if Durin was not C0. I think C2 is better because, wait a minute, did I read his talents wrong? Because it says Melt is a reaction he buffs. He only adds Melt buffing in C2. Although I still think he would be best because, I mean, we don't really have many other off-field Pyro options. And we do still get a bit of a damage increase from this, I believe. Especially if I have him on Noblesse. We'd probably end up doing more damage. What I will be doing, because now Durin is a Noblesse, I'm going to put Bennett on Instructors, because that will boost our EM. So there we go, Instructors on Bennett. Sucrose she's not C6. I swear to God she was C6, but apparently not. Probably would be useful to get her to C6, but we can't do that, so I guess we're just going to have to run her at C4. However, we can get her on full Viridescent, 580 EM. It might honestly even be better though to boost that EM up, So running her on like sacrificial would be better because I think she gives EM to the party members based on her EM. Yes, so we want big amount of EM on Sucrose, so that'll do 729. I don't have her on triple EM because actually, you know what? We don't need Kazuha right now, so I am going to steal Kazuha's piece. That now puts her at 904, which is a lot better. And then finally, Qiqi's build. We're going to swap up. We want 2-piece Galad, 2-piece Wanderers for EM. I will need to do some leveling up for this because I don't have a ton of Wanderers pieces. And then crit damage circlet. This is going to be insanely crit. Yeah, 32 to 237. 2,300 attack, that's pretty good. So we are certainly going to need some crit rate food for this. That's not enough crit rate. Food-wise for this. Ooh, that piece would be nice. But I think I can only use one piece of food per food type. Like I can only use one stamina, one attack food, one defense. I think that's how it works. I could be very wrong about that, but I believe that is the case. In which case, I will want cryo damage. We want cryo damage increase, which I will need to craft. And then I will probably also need, I think it's Adeptus Temptation, which gives you a bunch of crit rate. So let's start by getting some cryo damage, whatever these things are called. And then we want to go grab some Adeptus Temptation. I think because of the way that Sucrose works, we want to swell cryo. So I'll use Qiqi burst, then Sucrose skill, then Durin skill burst, or skill burst, then Bennett, and then go back to Qiqi, I think. Obviously, none of the bursts are up at the moment, but I think that will be our best plan of action. I really thought this would be better with Citlali, but I think she just doesn't work as good if it's a cryo DPS. If you're doing melt with a pyro DPS, she is definitely our best option. But for a cryo DPS, I don't actually think she works very well because she applies too much cryo herself. And it kind of takes away all of the pyro, so you can't do any melts. So, Qiqi, Sucrose, I don't think I need to use your burst, but I'll use your burst anyway. Boom, boom. Then we'll use Benny and Qiqi burst. And it didn't crit because I didn't use my crit food. So she still has only 32% crit rate. Okay, that will need to be run back and we'll need to use our crit food. Okay, this time let's use the Adeptus Temptation and the cryo damage boosting essential oil thing. So now let's hope we actually get this crit and we don't mess things up. We only have a 44% crit rate, so there's a very good chance we don't hit this crit, but I'm really hoping we do because that'll be problematic if we don't. So boom, boom, Qiqi, burst. We didn't crit. Oh god. I'm gonna need all my bursts up very quickly, and we're gonna need to do this again before all my food runs out. I could probably would make more sense to swap up her artifacts and get her with a little bit more crit rate, but I'm gonna give this one more shot with our limited amount of crit rate. And if we don't crit, then I will go swap up our artifacts a little bit. Try to keep the same crit damage, but get more crit rate. We'll try this all once again. Boom, 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 and Qiqi burst. 158,000, there we go. There's the crit. I've seen people do more damage. Their Qiqi was C6 though, but 158,000 from Qiqi, that's pretty good, considering she is not a good DPS. And this team turned out to be fully supports only-able. We can use it on supports only, which, I mean, isn't a problem because supports only is pretty much done. That's the reason I'm sort of doing this video now, and I will probably do more videos like this, because with supports only now only having about 5 episodes left, and I sort of have plans for all 5 of those, I'm probably going to do some more videos after I fully wrap up this account that's still on the account, but not part of the supports only series, as I'll probably use some DPSs or some non-support characters, but mainly just to mess around with some characters that I'd like to build to DPSs, but just don't have the characters to do so. Like on my main account, I don't have Escoffier and Lauma and Raiden, Zhongli, Citlali, all those guys, Shenhe, Baiju. I don't have them on my main account, so there are some teams I wouldn't mind trying in some like weird DPSs, but I'm not going to count that as part of the supports only series because I might also need to use some characters that aren't supports, like, I don't know, Lynette or Hazo or Sethos, I don't know, other stuff. So even when supports only does wrap up, you will see more videos like this that are still on the supports only account, but not technically counted as a supports only video. I don't think there's too much else I can really do to this team. 100 and pretty much 60,000 out of Qiqi is pretty damn good, especially considering she is only C2. If we can get her up to C5, then we get more burst damage, and C6, yeah, it's kind of useless if we don't care about C6. But C5 will give us more burst damage, so we probably could do even more damage once we get her to C5. C2 is not bad for like freeze stuff, because we get more normal and charge attack damage. So if I did want to use my Chongyun team and do freeze things, C2 is definitely good for that. But otherwise, C5 is kind of what I'm looking for. Also, it would be nice to get C2 Durin because he buffs Melt and a few other stuff. C6 Sucrose would help a lot. But without all of that, with just relatively basic constellations and builds and everything, 160,000 from Qiqi is pretty damn good. I think that should be the highest damage I've hit with Qiqi. Although if it isn't, that's kind of embarrassing that I've done 3 videos now, and the last 2 probably would have been pretty similar. But with that, that is where I'm going to leave this video off. So I hope you guys did enjoy. If you like this video, go check out the last DPS Qiqi video I did, which I'm pretty sure was almost a year ago now. And I honestly don't remember what our highest damage in there was, but I don't think it was anywhere near 160,000. But with that, do consider subscribing, and I will see you all in the next one. Good. Bye.